Okay, go.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
Yes, political correctness is out. American exceptionalism is back, ready to re-empower our republic as one nation under God by restoring our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, with your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet, baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts of the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos. And greetings out there all across this great land of ours and around the world. How are you doing this great afternoon? We're glad to have you with us today. Another exciting broadcast here at the Conservative Syndicate. We're glad to have you with us today. And boy, we got so much to talk about today, and so little time to do it. You know, I want to start the show out by saying this. I often am perplexed by the lack of time that we actually have to cover certain topics over the course of a broadcast day, even though we do a 2-hour show. And, you know, we have to account for things like commercials. And, of course, my tendency to go off topic has always been a big issue. But I did something today. I just want to share this real quick. I did something today. I happened to catch Rush Limbaugh this morning. I was out on the road, and my destination took me more than a half an hour to get there. So it was like, okay, I had the opportunity to listen more than just 10 or 15-minute blurbs, which is normally what happens when I'm in the car. You know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to each destination. So you catch about 5-10 minutes of the actual show. And I did something. I timed it today. And I'm going to tell you something. You're going to get more bang for your buck here at the Conservative Syndicate. Rush Limbaugh in an hour, 30 minutes in commercials, 30 minutes in talk. Okay? That means that a 3-hour show is only an hour and a half. And we do 2 hours, and I timed what we do. And you're going to get more in 2 hours with us than you'll get in 3 hours with Rush Limbaugh. Just so you know, just some comparisons. You know, and you want to pay $35 for his website so that you can listen to the commercials again? No, you don't have to do that. We give it to you for free. Just go to our site, the Conservative Syndicate, and we'll have every archive there. And less commercials, not commercial free, but less commercials. So just something to consider. And we've got quite a track record of actually being kind of ahead of the Rush Limbaugh curve sometimes. And it's not real hard to be ahead of Hannity these days. But Limbaugh, you still got to kind of be on your game. So just so you know, you're going to get more bang for your buck here at the Conservative Syndicate. Having said that, let me get my partner in crime here, cohort, Joe Hakos on. How are you doing today, Joe?
I'm doing good, John. Middle of the week. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about today. President Trump finally met with Bibi Netanyahu today and reaffirmed our commitment and with the state of Israel. And it was really nice to see once again, to see the fact that, we are allies. And we're going to treat each other as allies, not as we're frenemies, as we saw for the last 8 years with Barack Obama. Basically said, you know what? I like the Muslims better than you, BB. So you just sit over there in the corner and shut up.
Yeah, the other thing that we're going to have to not have to deal with during this administration is having our operatives and former campaign chairs and advisors running over to other countries trying to influence their elections while the leftists sit over here screaming, moaning, and groaning, thinking and alleging that Vladimir Putin is actually responsible for electing Donald Trump and not the American people. So, there's quite a contrast there. That's one of the things that we're going to be, I guess, off and on today talking during the course of our day. I do want to let everybody know we have a special guest coming on second hour, Stephen D'Annunzio, who's a comedian, political comedian. We have people like that on here sometimes. You remember we have Evan Sayet on occasion. I thought it just appropriate with everything going on and to have some lighthearted views on perspective on things. We got to keep laughing because if we don't laugh, you end up crying. If you end up crying, you get depressed. If you get depressed, you get complacent. You get complacent, and the left wins. So we gotta keep things perspective, and we are just watching the clowns. It is a clown show, no doubt about it. So let's look at it. There's a reason why this series. You remember this series? I don't know if you ever watched it, Joe, but I watched it on Showtime called The Circus. And it was during the election cycle. I can't remember the names. Mark Hampton, I think, was one of the people. These are guys, one of them, and the other guy, I just can't remember off the top of my head here, former Democratic strategist. And he went out and for the entire election cycle, they went out and actually just, filmed everything and talked to people and this, that, and the other. And then on Showtime every week for half an hour, they broadcast what it is they did during the week. And it certainly was a circus. They called it the circus, and it was called that for a reason. So let's keep things in perspective here. But there is a lot at stake in terms of our republic. And one thing that we have to do, I talked with a lot of people last weekend when I went down to the defund Planned Parenthood rally down in Tustin down here. And one thing, I was very encouraged, first of all, by the number of people that actually showed up. It's the biggest rally I've been to in California. 500 people showed up. And, I've never gone to the Donald Trump rallies out here, which were in the thousands, but the real hardcore rallies, Tea Party rallies and this, that, and I've been to a few of them, and about 500 people there, at least. And talking to people, I made it a point to talk to several people while I was there. And I just kept reiterating this thing. We have just got to get better at responding to what the left puts out there every day. And we have to do it consistently, and we have to be hard about it. We have to be rough about it. But most important is we do have to be consistent, and we cannot back down. We cannot continue to use the modus operandi of the Republican establishment, and does that turn a deaf ear to what the electorate is saying, what your opponents are saying, for fear of having to go on record to say, to oppose or to agree, or most importantly, because it doesn't really concern you, because your job isn't really governing, it is to preserve your position and power within your respective party and the committees that you get assigned to that help you bring in donations for re-election. That kind of thing. So we the people we're the ones that have to do this. And we have to do it head on, face on, in your face, just like they do us. And so that's the whole purpose of this show, is to give you ammunition to be able to go out there and do that. So we got Stephen D'Annunzio coming on second hour. In the first hour here, we're going to talk about, Joe just alluded to, the press conference, a little bit out of that, and the Mike Flynn thing. The Mike Flynn, you've got to look at this in the big picture. This isn't about somebody talking to a Russian ambassador about sanctions. This goes way beyond that. And there's our opinion, our stance on this is that we have the Republicans and the Democrats in collusion with each other, and they're all sleeping with the media. And I'm including the intelligence agencies. They have shown themselves to be as corrupt as we feared during the latter part of the election season last year. They are as crooked and corrupt as any of the politicians, which makes sense when you realize that they're appointed by politicians. So there has to be something there. Even Janet Yellen. Did you see Janet Yellen out there, the head of the Fed Reserve the other day, Joe? Even she's getting into the political banter, warning Trump about what he's doing to the economy and how it's going to affect inflation and interest rates and stuff like that. So, there is no such thing as nonpartisan anymore, folks. You ever hear that phrase again? You ought to cast that aside, completely disregard it, because it's nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and the reason part of this is kind of like, look, these people are all just leftovers from a previous administration. This has got to stop. I mean, everybody, the one thing that we need to get back to is being an American, and these people don't want to be Americans anymore.
No, and we have to.
We have Republicans and Democrats. We don't have anything else anymore. We need to get back to having Americans run the place, because this is ridiculous what's going on right now.
Oh yeah. It's the only thing that overshadows the malfeasance of today's political leaders is their arrogance and hypocrisy on everything that's happening. If we talk about, we should be recalling people on the Supreme Court. We should be just adamantly boisterous. And I just really, as riled as these liberals are at these town hall meetings about these people in Congress. People in Congress need to start going on record on our side of the battle here, on the right. We need to start forcing people like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, the people that claim to be the leaders of this country. These people need to start going on record. We know where McCain and Lindsey Graham and all the rest of that trash, we know where they're at. But they are not the leadership of the country, contrary to popular opinion, and that's why the left colludes with them, and that's why the media keeps them on the air. We need to put people like Mitch McConnell on record, and on record consistently every single day. In the meantime, we got to go to break here, and we'll be right back. So just stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Full slate for you. We'll be right back.
We're not arguing, we're explaining why we're right. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics.
When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
All right. Hey, we are back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And let's just touch base here a little bit on the press conference that took place today with President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel. I think the first thing we would want to comment on, and I know you're geared up for this, Joe, is the fact that no mainstream news outlet that normally has been pandered to and catered to and actually probably prepped as to what questions to ask the president, we're allowed to ask any questions today. I thought very worth noting that let's call it the off-brand media outlets were picked up with was it Christian Broadcasting Network? Station, the Christian, Pat Robertson's outfit, Town Hall Daily, and a couple of other people that weren't identified, but I didn't recognize any names from ABC, CBS, CNN, or the rest of the lot. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, I was waiting for your comment.
Well, yeah, I just got. They're already out there complaining. I mean, I'm just looking at some. Jim Acosta, the I don't know, quote unquote professional that he is from CNN, I think it is. He's like, I tried to ask a question. Who cares, Jim? No one wants to hear your crap. The thing is, you guys only want to talk about one thing. The Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. Here, let me play it for you. Here's these geniuses at the end of the press conference when they're walking off.
Any questions about your associate contacts with the Russians during the campaign, sir?
Mr. President, can you guarantee that nobody on your campaign had any contacts with the Russians? Mr. President, any questions on Russia? Mr. President.
No, you moron. No one wants to talk about it because, for one, you don't have a damn bit of proof about any of that. It's old. It's really old. The fake news, people are sick of you guys and your fake news bullcrap. Yeah, so the President Donald Trump went to other news outlets and said, we're going to ask them and have them ask us questions. Oh, and they didn't even like the questions that were asked. It's not about the substance of the questions. It's the fact that, oh, you didn't ask us the question.
Well, I think it's worth noting, and I also noticed this to some degree with the press conference the other day with Prime Minister Trudeau up in Canada. The thing, one of the basic rules that should be set out before the press corps is that when you're having a joint news conference with a foreign leader, the questions should be restricted to what the meeting that you just had with that foreign leader is about.
But they can't do that, John, because that won't fit into their narrative.
Yeah, because they want, every one of these people on the left, they're all out there fishing for that got you moment that will catapult them into the celebrity stratosphere. Put them up there with the Jake Tappers and the Ezra Kleins and Chris Matthews. That's what they're looking for. It's about advancing their career in the same manner that we see the establishment Republicans and Democrats trying to preserve their careers. They do it through complicity and avoiding the media. The media does it by trying to get out there and be that person that gets that gotcha question that 47% of the people will vote for Obama no matter what type of question, so that they can get start being put out there on the news circuit, and they can get catapulted to, maybe start competing with Brian Williams and people like that. That's what that's all about.
Yeah, you get a 6-figure-a-year contract to say stupid crap on Fox.
Yeah, it's like I watched the exchange that took place the other night between Tucker Carlson on his show and one of the writers over at the Washington Post. I can't remember the guy's name. And Carlson was just really hard on this guy, just kept asking him, when's the last time your boss told you were doing a good job? He was, what he was trying to allude to is, you people aren't reporting. You're doing what your editors tell you to do, and your editors are hacks. Your editors are taking their direction, their commands, their orders, their marching orders from establishment types. You're just out there echoing it. You're just parroting it. And this guy kept trying to dress down, Tucker Carlson. Well, you do the same thing. And Carlson says, no, I'm not a reporter. I am a pundit. I am sitting here. I can say anything I want because I'm not trying to advance a narrative one way or the other. You're supposed to be a reporter, but you're not reporting. You're a hack. I mean,
there's an illusion of neutrality that's out there. That's what they want to go ahead and say. We're neutral. They're far from neutral. And this past election season really exemplified that. That was ridiculous what they did this past election season, and they're still doing it. They haven't learned a damn thing from the past election season. No. Not one thing that they learned. Has one of those people lost their damn job.
Yeah.
Not one has been fired.
Now, getting back to the point here that I was making earlier, and I get your comment on this, Joe, is that I count 4 questions were asked after this press conference. Every single question was in context to what Netanyahu and Trump met to talk about. It was about the Iran situation. It was about the settlements over in Israel. It was anti-Semitism in the United States. Everything had to do with what they had actually met to talk about. There was no questions about, hey, what about Ivanka's endorsement situation with Nordstrom? All the other, because the leftist media, I don't think they can really handle substance. I really don't think if any one of them really asked a question about actual issues within the framework and the context of what the issue actually entails, I don't know that they would really be able to understand the answer. I think we've seen that on occasion, because every time somebody says something with substance, anything that's deep, they always take the superficial side of it. It's never the actual.
Here's what Acosta's saying via Twitter. The White House, this president does not want to answer critical questions. It's like, really? He answered questions today, just not the stupid-ass questions that these people were going to ask.
Yeah, there was one question about the Iran nuclear deal and Trump calling for its repeal. And the question, I think, was substance. It was a substantial question. I'm wondering if you're concerned at all as it relates to not just the National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, who is recently no longer here, but also some of those events that have been going on with communication Russia. Now, that was about as close as we're going to get to a question about what's going on with Russia. But it was still asked within context of a situation here. We have the Iran deal. Russia is involved in that, not overtly, but covertly. They're involved in this thing. And it was like that was the question. It really what he really ended up asking the question was, is this, meaning what was going on with Michael Flynn and the allegations of communication with Russia, is this going to hamper the Iran deal? And is this going to keep Iran from becoming a nuclear state? Should it hinder that type of situation? So that was still a contextual question. It wasn't about, were you associated with the Russians, and did your campaign staff collude with the Russians to make sure that Hillary Clinton wasn't going to get elected? Because that's what the media wants to ask. That's the premise of what they're doing. They want to all lead up to, were you in collusion with Russia to make sure that Hillary Clinton wouldn't get elected? That is the question that everybody wants to ask, and they're trying to get to that point. The congressional people like Pelosi and Schumer, they're already floating it out there. But the media, they don't want to just come right out and say it. They want to lead up to it. And this question by this person, David Brody over at the Christian Broadcasting, he asked the question, but he did it contextually. Is this going to, basically what he's saying is all the rancor and all the ruffled feathers over Mike Flynn and allegations of Russian collusion in the election, is this going to affect the Iran deal? That has direct contextual application to Benjamin Netanyahu being there in the first place. So, I get it. So, but here's the point I'm getting at here. The way that the question was asked, nobody in the leftist media apparently picked up on what was being asked, much less what Donald Trump said and how he responded. His response was Michael Flynn was treated unfairly by the media. Maybe so. I don't know. I happen to be of the opinion right now, and my mind can be changed, but from what I know right now, I think Michael Flynn was in the wrong for not disclosing what he had done, whether it was legal or illegal, whether it was detrimental or non-detrimental. If it was so innocent, he could have said that. When Pence asked him, have you talked to anybody about this stuff? Yeah, I did, by the way. I did talk to this guy or that guy.
Exactly that. All you had to do was tell the truth. Yeah, I talked to whoever about whatever.
Yeah.
Because there's absolutely nothing illegal about it.
No.
Not a damn thing.
But
nothing illegal. Nothing. Not a thing.
No. And
it's right to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it does make sense when you now have the attack on somebody like Kellyanne Conway, who for the media is saying, oh, no, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth here. You're telling us that Donald Trump supported Flynn, but at the same time, his trust was eroding. And so that comes down to, you knew weeks ago what was going on here. Does that mean that Donald Trump is in collusion too? Or are you trying to cover something up? Well, Flynn brought that all about by simply not saying on the outset, I did talk to somebody. But the point being is that it's just the media can't take the meat of the question that this particular person asked about, is all the crap that's being floated out here, all the fake news, all the allegations, all the implications, all the innuendo, do you think this is going to affect the Iran deal? That was the question. And nobody in the media on the left side seemed to pick that up, because why would they be yelling at the end of the press conference, we want to ask questions about Russia? Well, this guy just asked a question about Russia, but he did it as a journalist would do. Okay?
Yeah. And, and it's funny. You want to ask a question about Russia? Why do you want to ask a question about Russia? Do you think Russia had an effect on the American election here? Okay, let's ask a question about governments having an effect on elections. Hey, how about your savior, Barack Obama, sending his operatives over to Israel to affect an election in Israel?
Yeah. But again, I agree. I just say I'm looking for the simple responses to these things. And the simple response to these ongoing allegations and implications and innuendo that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are best buddies and they colluded together to influence the elections, I say, so what? There's nothing illegal about that either, for all intents and purposes. Had they colluded, hey, let's get Hillary Clinton. Let's do it. And again, no evidence to say so. I'm not saying that. I'm not buying into the narrative. What I'm saying is, if we play the devil's advocate and say, okay, there was collusion, the next question has to be, so what? What does that mean? That somebody was able to pull off what Barack Obama wasn't able to pull off in Britain and Israel, trying to undermine Netanyahu? That's the question. Okay, we got to go to break, guys. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. A lot more for you.
Red State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds, and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook, and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call. But I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-380-2906. That's 800-380-2906. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-380-2906.
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American.
Okay, we're back. And this is the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And we were talking about the Trump press conference that took place today with Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister over in Israel. Another question here, if I can just take a moment here, take up a little bit more time, because I want to really kind of drive home a couple of points here in terms of how those who ask questions today, not members of the mainstream elitist media club, but some of the lesser well-known organizations out there like the Christian Broadcast Network or station and Town Hall Daily, which, I'm not a big fan of Town Hall anymore because of some of the things I saw come out during the election cycle. But it's nice to have somebody like that being able to ask questions rather than, Jake Tapper or Jonathan Karl or, some of these people out there that are just like the stalwarts of mainstream media. A woman named Sarah, they didn't identify who she was or who she was with, but she asked a question about the situation in the Middle East, about the idea of a two-state solution that was adopted by the previous administration. By the way, the media is playing this stance that Barack Obama really, really tried to play hardball with during his administration. It's something that's been the stance of America for the last 20 years. I'm not so sure that's the case. I'm not so sure that during the George W. Bush period that they actually took a stance of Palestine being recognized as a separate state within, because the battle, you got to understand what the battle is over here. It's not so much Israel not wanting to give Palestine state recognition per se. It's the Palestinians believing that Jerusalem should be their capital. That's what this whole debate is about the Middle East. It's all about Jerusalem. And there's a lot of things I could say about that, just from the biblical perspective, much less the political perspective. But the point being is that is the issue with the two-state paradigm, is that Palestine wants Jerusalem and Israel wants Jerusalem. So it's not really a matter of Israel saying, okay, we'll let you form your own state. It's that we'll let you form your own state absent Jerusalem. And the Palestinians go, no, we got to have Jerusalem. So anyway, the question, and it's Trump's response to it that I just have to spend a moment talking about. So the question was, will you be willing to hear different ideas from the Prime Minister as some of his partners are asking him to do? For example, annexations of parts of the West Bank and unrestricted settlement construction. And one more question. Are you going to fulfill your promise to move the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem? And if so, when? And Mr. Prime Minister, did you come here tonight to tell the President that you're backing off the two-state solution? Trump's answer is so Trump. Okay, this is so Trump. Look, I'm looking at a two-state and a one-state, and I like the one that both party likes. Okay, now the media is what is the media trying to say? That Trump is anti Palestinian, which means he's anti-Muslim. And he's countering all the work that Barack Obama did the 8 years he was in office, trying to bring peace in the Middle East by getting Israel to back off, to take up their existence back in the 1967 borderline and give the Palestinians what they want, to appease them. That's the strategy of Barack Obama, was to appease our enemies in hopes that they start liking us. And Trump is basically saying, I don't care if it's a one state or a two state. I just want peace. Now, that to me is so Trumponian. Can we coin that word, Joe?
You can coin whatever you want to coin there, John.
Okay, that's very Trumponian, isn't it? The deal maker. Whatever it takes to make a deal that makes both sides happy, I'm copacetic, I'm okay with it.
He basically said that in his answer, John. He said, but honestly, if Bibi and if Israel and the Palestinians are happy, I'm happy with the one they like the best.
Yeah.
He said it was his answer.
Yeah, a beautiful answer. Now, I think he's being very, he's revealing his preference by simply saying, well, I'm going to set up the embassy in Jerusalem. So that tells you he's siding with Israel on this. But he's the deal maker, the great deal maker. And I'm going to bring this up later on with something else that I want to talk about. I'm not going to bring it up now because it's not the time. But the whole idea of him just saying, look, whatever makes both sides, whatever blows your skirt up, whatever makes everything peaceful, I'm cool with that. I'm here to talk about that. He referred to Netanyahu as a negotiator. The guy's a great negotiator. We're going to negotiate. We're going to see if we can come up with something. And Netanyahu's basically saying the Palestinians don't want to make a deal. They want to control the show. And we're not going to do that. So it remains to be seen how this plays out, whether they can have it. I happen to believe, and I'm speaking strictly from biblical perspective, I don't think they'll ever come to a solution with the situation over in Israel. It isn't going to happen this side of the return of Jesus. I guarantee you that. Just my study of eschatology and the things that are going on, this has been going on for 6,000 plus years. And if the world is around 6,000 plus years more, it'll be going on then. Because that's all about, it's all about Ishmael and Isaac, and there's a whole lot of things involved in this thing. But neither side is going to concede that Jerusalem belongs to them. And that is the center of the entire issue here, one way or the other. The eradication of the state of Israel by the Muslims, all descendants of Ishmael. I'm not going to get on the pulpit about this, but this isn't going to happen in like I said, this side of the return of Jesus. Okay, it just isn't going to happen. But I think Trump pretty much said it. Hey, whatever can make things work. And I think that's a very honest stance, and probably very true to what he really believes. So we'll see what happens there. I did like Netanyahu's answer, though. He said, well, I read yesterday that an American official said that if you ask 5 people what 2 states would look like, you'd get 8 different answers. And if you ask 5 Israelis, you'll get 12. So, yeah, there it is. So you got any comments on that, Joe?
Well, I like what Netanyahu had to say. He basically said, look, this is what's going to happen. And he said, I haven't changed my position whatsoever. He said, the Palestinians have to do 2 things. They must recognize the Jewish state. They have to stop calling for Israel's destruction. They have to stop educating their people for Israel's destruction. And he says, second, in any peace agreement, Israel must retain the overriding security control over the entire area west of the Jordan River. 1967 borders, anybody? Because if we don't, we know what will happen, because otherwise we'll get another radical Islamic terrorist state in Palestinian areas will explode. Exploding the peace will explode in the Middle East. He says, now, unfortunately, the Palestinians vehemently reject both prerequisites for peace. First, they continue to call for Israel's destruction inside their schools, inside their mosques, inside their textbooks. You have to read it to believe it. So there you have it. Very simply put, they have to change their whole ideal. And will they do that? Well, gee, not peacefully they won't.
No, not when their religion, quote unquote religion, calls for the eradication of Israel. They can't be. They wouldn't be Muslims anymore if they do that. So, and on that premise, that is why I say I don't see a solution to this one way or the other. It's going to be an ongoing thing, and it will be, in my opinion, again, just based on what I know about eschatology, it will be the very foundation for Armageddon, which nobody wants. If you're not a Christian, you don't want to believe that kind of thing. But it's a real deal here. Okay, it's going to always be about Jerusalem. And if they're not willing, I like the way he alluded to it. He says the Chinese are called Chinese because they're Chinese from China. Japanese are called Japanese because they're from Japan. We're called Jews because we're from Israel, or we're called Israelis because we're from Israel. You know, you can't.
They're called Jews because they're from Judea.
Yeah. Okay, we're from Judea. So you can't just say, okay, you have to cease to exist in order to appease me. You know, that kind of thing. No. And no way in hell is this going to happen. It's not going to happen. But let's just hope that maybe, I'm hoping what it can do is it will bring some leverage into the Middle East theater outside of Israel. And that would be the eradication of Islamic radicalism and terrorism and ISIS and all the things that go along with that. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Anyway, I think we're coming up on a break here. Yeah, we're past our time here. We're at the break here. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We got some other things we want to talk about before the top of the hour. We'll be right back.
There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. The ConservativeSyndicate.net, the adult in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring. And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
All right, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I want to encourage you, visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. And you can pick up this archive, any of our archives, find out what we do, why we do it, and who we do it with. That's the conservativesyndicate.net. And I want to kind of shift gears here before we get to the top of the hour here, because this has been itching in my my hind skin here for the last couple of days. I had a little bit of a revelation a heavy revvy the other day while I was driving down the road, and something I hadn't really thought too much about, actually hadn't given any thought, and I have not heard it come out of anybody else across the talk spectrum, and I think we're on the edge of something here, something that people don't look at. The Ninth Circuit ruling that upheld the traveling restrictions, immigration restrictions in Trump's executive order is been a hot topic here. And there's a lot of opinions on both sides, whether the court was judicially active, practicing judicial activism, or whether they were violating the Constitution, or whether they were upholding the Constitution. It depends on who you talk to. But there's something that just kind of surfaced as I was going through my notes the other day. And it was an article that I ran across that Donald Trump might just forego the entire appeal process and resubmit a new executive order on immigration. And I thought, that's my initial thought, and I think this is what the mainstream media and the pundits and the constitutionalists and everybody else is concerned about. By doing so, you're actually giving ground to the left. If you don't fight this thing in court, take it up to Supreme Court, and, the argument is Supreme Court's overturned 8 of 10 of the Ninth Circuit's rulings and this, that, and the other. And, boy, we could really score a heavy one here for the conservative movement and the immigration problem and everything else. But Trump, if he goes the other route and just says, let's just can it and throw the document away and let's redo it, I got to thinking, and you tell me if I'm off base here, Joe. You're my kind of my soul here on some of these things. Trump, during the election cycle, mentioned several times early into the election cycle that as a deal maker, the art of negotiation is basically asking for everything in the beginning, but actually knowing what you want at the end. And I got to thinking, I wonder if that's why they did what they did, to come out and just take this extreme stance. Let's just keep everybody out. Let's kind of make it look like we'll pick the 7 countries where all the problems are coming from. And what we're going to do is we're just going to stop everything from coming in. And I'm just wondering if somewhere in his thinking he realized or knew or understood that he was going to be asking for too much. And in doing so, let the court rule on this thing to basically use that as leverage in negotiations. He's not negotiating per se, but he's negotiating in his own mind by saying, okay, let's see what they throw back in my face. And when he mentioned he was thinking about resubmitting an immigration order, he said to eliminate the objections of the court. And I got to think, I'm saying, I wonder if this actually was the strategy to begin with. Let's throw it all out there, see what the courts reject, turn around and now renegotiate and get to the core of the problem, which is keeping people from, say, Syria from coming in, some of the more radical stances, radical countries out there, elements out there coming into the country. And let's redraft this thing so that when it goes back to the court has no argument for it. What do you think? Do you think there's any viability in that?
Well, I think it could be. I think part of it was, I don't trust his chief of staff, to be honest with you.
Oh, I don't either. I agree with you there. I agree with you.
I think, it was done haphazardly. It wasn't done as smooth as it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be, and it wasn't as worded as way it was supposed to be, as precise as it should have been. And so I put a lot of that on his chief of staff, actually. Now, the other thing, I could see him asking for the world and you get what you want out of it and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I can understand that. He's, I don't know if that's part of his book, The Art of the Deal, whatever, I can see him doing that sort of thing, though. But I put a lot of the blame right there at Priebus. I think part of this is, I think a lot of his problems right now are right there. That's where I have I have issue with that guy right there. I really do, because he is the inside. He is the establishment Republican.
I agree with that. I agree. I was going to mention, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I was going to mention was there was an article that came out a few days ago, and it was from one of these inside anonymous sources kind of thing. So, you got to give it whatever weight there is to it, and there is no weight to it. But the allegations that are coming from somebody inside the Trump administration is that Reince Priebus is over his head, and that he's not a good leader. He doesn't know how to organize and structure.
I don't think it's so much that is he is intentionally doing things.
Yeah, I believe it. I don't see. I think we both questioned his appointment to begin with, because of the fact that this guy is basically the lapdog, the point man for the establishment. That's why he was selected as the head of the RNC. You're not selected head of the RNC or the DNC because you're an independent thinker. You're selected the head because you follow orders, and you're a surrogate for the agenda and the narratives and everything else. So I think we speculated and kind of concluded that Reince Priebus might have been picked because he would be the bridge to the Republican establishment, and Trump would, win him over with his charm or whatever. But Reince Priebus, when you get selected to a position like the head of an RNC or DNC, it's not because you're stupid; it's because you're loyal, and people don't. You got to learn the difference. I don't think Reince Priebus is a stupid man, but I do think he's an establishment loyalist. And I do believe, just like you do, Joe, that, he probably is somewhere when the dust clears, this guy just might be the one that has been, providing all the leaks.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump has two problems. One is the Republican establishment, whether it's from the inside or in the halls of Congress, and two, the Obama leftovers. They're in the bureaucratic halls of Washington, D.C., whether it be in the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the PTA, whoever. But I think he has problems on those two fronts right there.
Yeah, and I think when we had Scott Faulkner on last week, I think he very kind of validated and confirmed for us that the revelation that Chris Christie was able to place some, I guess, very strategic and relevant or effective operatives from Romney and Bush camps into positions there is something that I don't know how they're going to. I don't know if they're going to or how they're going to fish all these people out. I'm not really sure how that's going to come down. But I just something tells me here that I think Trump may have just, let's throw the whole thing out there and let's see how he responds, and then we'll just adjust to it. A negotiator, a deal maker, and it makes sense to me that the first thing you want to do is just let's lay it all out there. Let's lay everything we want, ideally we want, and then let's start walking it back to what we actually need to accomplish our agenda, which is to make Americans safer. That's the agenda. That's the objective.
With all this is right now, he was doing this throughout the campaign, he's a counterpuncher. And you know what? It's time not to be a counterpuncher. It's time to do the knockout blows from the get-go. Tired of counterpunching, you need to lay out the agenda and knock these people out.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, once it's saying if they decide, should Trump decide that we're going to appeal this thing, and as it goes up the chain of command here to get in front of the Supreme Court, it just gives so much fodder to the media. That's my point. He could really eliminate a lot of that noise, that white noise out there, if I can use that phrase, and that kind of thing. So anyway, we're at the top of the hour here. We got the Edwards Notebook, pay some bills. We'll be back next hour. We've got Stephen Denuncio. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
If President Donald Trump is a racist, then pigs do fly, and all is well in Chicago. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, it was so beyond refreshing during a Varney and Company broadcast on Fox recently, where President Donald Trump met with numerous Americans who happened to be black, individuals ranging from Pastor Darrell Scott and his wife, Dr. Ben Carson, Bill Cleveland, Earl Matthews, and many others. And you know what? They talked about solutions to problems plaguing the American black community and our nation overall. Notice I didn't say complain, badmouth America, or spew hatred. That's because absent from the meeting were hyphenated or bitter African Americans like Jesse, hey, where's the camera, Jackson, Black Lives Matter Gumps, Al Sharpton, and others of that ilk. In fact, those that have eyes to see and ears to hear clearly understand that President Donald Trump is the real deal concerning his desire to solve problems everywhere in our republic, including black communities. Even thug gang leaders in Chicago have said they want to hear what Trump has to say. Isn't that interesting how the previous Obama administration never inspired such ideas? I'm Ron Edwards.
Blowing away the myths and revealing the truth. You can continue to blow away the myths with Ron Edwards on Facebook, Twitter, and theronedwards.com.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right. General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
Yes, political correctness is out. American exceptionalism is back, ready to re-empower our republic as one nation under God by restoring our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, with your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet, baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts of the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Okay, hey, we are back. Hour two right here at the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we are so happy you took the time to join us. You know, there's a lot of outlets out there, a lot of places you can find information, news, and opinion, but we really believe that we are on the cutting edge here. Cutting edge, less commercials, more talk, and in a lot of cases, we're kind of ahead of the curve than some of the mainstream outlets out there. I really put us on par. I'm going to be honest with you. And, of course, I'm biased. But I've been doing this for 10 years now. Joe's been with me, how many years you been with me now, Joe?
55.
All right. On the show here, it's been it's got to be 2 or 3 years at least, right?
Yeah, gee, John, I can't remember anymore.
I know, man. It's like, time goes by so fast. Anyway, the point being is that I've been doing this long enough to be able to, and I'm confident enough to be able to put us in the same categories as some of the other more renowned or recognized people out there. I'm talking about the Rush Limbaughs and the Sean Hannitys. And in my opinion, the only person that I think is still we're just eons behind in terms of being able to present the conservative message is probably Mark Levin. I think Mark Levin has he has knowledge. He's probably forgotten more things about the Constitution than I've ever known. So having said that, but the rest of them, none of them strike any fear in me. I could sit on the stage, huh? I could sit on the stage or on the same microphone with somebody like a Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity and feel totally comfortable. I would not be intimidated or anything else. Anyway, all right. Our short segment that we got here. I wanted to just kind of touch on. Let me get that in here. Okay, I wanted just to take a moment here and just kind of touch on just refresh your memory here. The Ninth Circuit ruling. The Ninth Circuit ruling on the travel restrictions by Donald Trump. And I really believe that Donald Trump's got something up his sleeves here. I think he may have known or at least anticipated that once he threw this executive order out there, that something was going to, that maybe the courts would shoot it down. And he's got something in reserve. Okay? All right. Anyway, having said that, before we go to commercial, we got to go to commercial break. I just want to check here, so if we have any technical glitches, we can fix them right here. We should have Steve Denuncio with us. Are you out there, Steve? Steve, are you out there with us? Okay. Well, we'll go to commercial here. Go to commercial, and we'll see if we can fix this. We show him online, but he's not live here. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment.
Middle America doesn't have an anger problem. It's got an idiot problem. The Conservative Syndicate, doing our part to eradicate the disease of idiocracy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment, and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. Okay, and we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, and we're going to cross our fingers here and hope that we have Stephen D'Annunzio with us here to help us in this segment of our show here at the Conservative Syndicate. Are you out there, Stephen? We're not hearing him. I show him live. Live as live you can be. And not hearing him at all here. Stephen, are you there? Wow. Okay. Don't know what to do about this. When you show the guy live and you're not hearing him, there's what can you say?
All right, let me try something here. I'm going to hang up here, and we'll just try this real quick. If it doesn't happen, then we'll just move on here, and we'll just have to reset this up some other time. All right, let me try to add him from my side here, just real quick here, and see if we can get him on that way. And of course, he's probably, if he's still got his line open, we may not be able to get him. Yeah, I'm not seeing him. Okay. There we go. Let's try to add him to the call here. Let's see if he picks up his line over there. And we'll bring him on if we can.
Hello?
Hey, there you are. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, I was wondering where the connection was, but I'm doing fine. How you doing, John?
Oh, we're doing fine. We're doing fine here. We had you shown. We had you on our board lit up like you were there, and we kept talking and we didn't hear you. So we just tried something else. It's great to have you on here. For those of you who don't know Stephen Denuncio, comedian, and I ran across some of his stuff, in particular a rap song that he played that him and some of his friends put together. I thought was just hilarious. I just saw it was hilarious. But why don't we start out by letting our listeners know, Stephen, how did you decide to get into the world of comedy?
Well, actually, I've been in the world of comedy by accident. Actually, I hail from the dental profession. I'm also a political consultant. I am a jazz pianist and singer, and a comic. And so I got started on a cruise ship back in 1979 playing accordion on Italian night with a singer I knew very well here who's passed away. And we used to stroll table to table. And then before you know it, I ended up in the lounge. And from the lounge, I was playing songs. And I'm one that loves to do parody. So I was doing parody in between songs, and the cruise director loved it, and I was doing fun stuff, and they would say, Steve, I love it, just don't do any Titanic jokes. I says, don't worry about it, I won't scare the guests. And so it led from there, and from there I started running campaigns and doing all that I do. And I plugged into just about everything, calling national talk shows, appearing on them, and then decided to get into comedy, stand-up without the piano. So I separated the both of them. One, I play cocktail hours at weddings, and then I do stand-up comedy, and I try to leave politics off the stage when I'm doing an open show, but I do get called in a lot to do conservative shows, Republicans, and from at those shows, then I go full on. Believe me.
All right. So now, how long have you been doing this?
The comedy end. Well, I would say the stand-up part I've been doing for about 6-7 years without the piano, but I've been doing this since 1979. Like I said, I got on a cruise ship and I got lucky, and then one thing led to another, and performed for Disney. I performed everywhere.
Oh, really? Really? Have you ever done anything out here in Disneyland out here in Anaheim?
No, I haven't. I have not. But I just in the Orlando area, I performed at the Air Force Academy. I've done up and down the East Coast. I enjoy what I do. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I get a great audience. I sneak in my politics, but I sneak it in a way where I get away with it, if you know what I mean. Because they're going to egg us conservatives right off the stage. That's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I know you do what you call a daily rant, and I think that was one of the things that attracted me to you, because I often use that phrase here when I kind of begin to. I call the angry white man rant is what I call them, where you just kind of get off on a certain aspect of something that's going on here. I want to get your take as a comedian. Because certainly what we're seeing now is a circus for all intents and purposes out there. What is it that is really kind of catching your eye the most, giving you the most material, right now?
Well, the most material obviously is coming from the left. I mean, we have Nancy Pelosi. I mean, Nancy, I call her Spooker Pelosi. She used to be the speaker, but she's certainly a spooker. She appears, when I look at her, I think she could actually star for the Disney's Haunted Mansion and the graveyard scene. This is a woman who, when she speaks, cannot comport a sentence. So I have fun with her. I do have fun with locally with a lot of politicians. But in Washington, oh, my God, it's just that they've gone off the rail. They're completely gone off the rail. Right now they think they found red meat in the water, and they've gone everywhere they can. But the comedic material gets really good when it comes down to, and even the rhinos. I have to be honest with you. I'm a guy that I don't suffer fools well. In my car rants, if you're a rhino, you're on my radar. And I'm just going to call it as I see it. I just find, John, that when I'm on the stage and I talk and I try and I do conservative comedy, I find that the people are engaged. It's just how do I put it? It's just they're engaged. They understand we're in the throes of a revolution right now. It's the beginning of a revolution, and the Democrats have called violence. They played the violent card, and it's going to come to a point. And I'm a Tea Party member, by the way. I've been active with the Tea Party, and I see that there's going to come a point in time, John, where you can only corner a cat so long, right? And then what's going to happen with that cat? It's going to scratch you. We're going to be on the defense. We're never. If we go on the offense, John, you know what's going to happen to us? We're going to be labeled, and they're just waiting to do that. You know it. Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's got a camera. But it's coming. It's coming. We're going to be backed into a corner. They're going to assault the wrong person, and we're going to have to defend ourselves. But comedy makes me vent, and that's what I enjoy doing the most, John. And it just allows me to vent and not become too serious about it.
Well, if I can impose upon you, I don't want to put you in the spot here, but can you perhaps relate some of your material that you're either working on right now or a routine that you're working on right now? Maybe your latest rant. I want to give you the mic. Want to give you time to do what you do.
All right. Well, let's take Rhode Island for instance, because I relate a lot to Rhode Island. I don't know what's allowed to be said on your show. I mean, this is a national show. I don't know what the words we're allowed to use here. So,
well, we prefer that profanity not be used. But other than that, you're and you can't call for the overthrow of the government. Other than that, we're pretty free here. Other than that, we're pretty flexible here. I've said some things here on this show where, fortunately, because of the venue that we use, we're not so tied to FCC regulations and stuff like that. So, but some of our stuff does go out over terrestrial radio, so we have to be a little bit concerned about profanity in that regard.
All right.
But,
no problem.
But other than that,
I don't mean to interrupt you. A lot of material goes into the dark side, unfortunately.
Well, I'm all for the dark side. I'm okay with that. Like I said, no profanity, and other than that, you got free reign to say whatever you want.
Well, I mean, just a little something I can go into because a lot of stuff is themed and routine in my routine. But what I talk about, most of my comedy, I talk about Disney, and I go into and airport issues. And in Rhode Island, let's take Rhode Island, a very cold blue. We're so blue in the state of Rhode Island. We're cold blue. And not even, by the way, not even the paddles are going to save us here in Rhode Island. And I usually get up on the stage and I start with that. And usually when I'm in the conservative company, they understand exactly what I mean. Our only hopes here in Rhode Island is that we get a few more Republicans elected so we can be the zombie state, a walking dead state, so to speak. But we have an airport here, and I don't know if anybody's familiar. You have airport codes all over the world, all over the country. Boston's BOS. Then you have LAX for Los Angeles. And in Providence, not in Providence. Well, actually, our airport's in Warwick, Rhode Island. But they say it's Providence. That's how screwed up we are here. And it's PVD. It's P as in Providence, V as in Victor, D as in Democrat. So I would say PVD, people voting Democrat, and that's why we're so screwed up in Rhode Island. And I would just take it down a path from there. We spent and again, people relate, we spent $250,000 in Rhode Island to come up with a slogan, cooler and warmer. That's our slogan. But we have a state bird. Our state bird is the Rhode Island red. It's a rooster. Now, I got to be careful here, but it's not what do we know? A rooster, here's where I get nervous about the word, but it's not a swear word. It's what a rooster is.
Uh-huh.
So I would say our slogan is very simple. They're not cooler and warmer. We have a state bird called the Rhode Island red. Come to Rhode Island, the state with the big red cock, beating the bird, right?
Well,
and people would that would open with that.
Yeah,
and
well,
people would laugh.
The irony of that kind of a statement is that you use the color red in a blue state. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know Rhode Island was big enough to have a runway.
Yeah, you got that right. We do allow like 727s and actually a 747's landed on our runway. The Air Force One or Air Force One when Obama was flying around with it landed in PVD Airport. People voting Democrat, and it barely made the strip, but it lands. We're just backwards here, John. I ran 8 elections, all Republicans, 2 states, Rhode Island and Massachusetts, and I won those elections for those Republicans because I know how to win elections. I've talked with Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity, when he lived in Rhode Island, used to do work with my dad, and I got to know him just briefly in that encounter until he moved out of Rhode Island and got into radio. But I knew him, and he's a funny guy. Off the mic, he could be a funny guy. But I have a great passion for politics, John. A great passion. And another thing I do with in comedy is I turn the Wizard of Oz. Now, again, I get very nervous with these things, but I do a whole thing with the Wizard of Oz. It's a 20-minute skit. I usually go 45 minutes to an hour when I'm headlining. And the Wizard of Oz is a funny skit because I refer to it as 2 chicks fighting over a pair of shoes. But within that whole skit is political humor, especially with the Tin Man, and then I make the Tin Man represent something else, and I do a song with him, which I can't talk about here on your show. But I would always say to the audience, what does the Tin, and I would say, I would take them through the journey, and I would say, what does the Tin Man represent? And I'm only jumping in the middle of the joke with this, and people would say, oh, I know. They raised their hands. They said, he wanted a hot. I says, no, the Tin Man represented lubrication. And God knows why that little girl was lubing his mouth and why it was rusted shut is beyond me. And people would use their imagination, and I would take them down the path. And then I would sing the song that I said was eliminated for the entire show. And it's not that he wanted a hot, he wanted something else. And the whole song takes off. It's funny, but I throw politics in there as well. And it kind of, only depending on my audience, if I'm doing it to an audience where I'm not going to split them because it's an open show, I won't throw politics in there. Conservative show, then there will be politics in there. And that's how I bend my routine. And it's usually a lot of fun, but go ahead. I'm over here talking over you. It's your show.
Well, I've actually made some my own little comparisons to the Wizard of Oz. I'm kind of a wannabe author, and I write I write a lot of blogs and things like that. And I remember writing one particular blog. It was called "Pay No Attention to That Man Behind the Curtain," and it's all about how the illusion of politics and what they're trying to, the impression that they're always trying to put on us and everything. And really what it is some really inept little old man who happened to float into utopia by mistake and got elevated to a position of power and authority and has no clue whatsoever what he's doing. And I think that so well paints the entire progressive ideology and agenda is it? It is kind of like Oz, somewhere over the rainbow where, there's lemon drops and everything else, that kind of stuff. So anyway.
Well,
hey, look,
somewhere over the rainbow, there was a pot of, there's a new place. So these days, it's not a pot of gold, John. There's usually a parade at the end of the rainbow these days. So let's face it, but we're not going to go there. That's a whole nother joke.
Yeah,
and I'm not anti whatever you want to be in life. I mean, I don't go down that path, but we do have fun with it. And especially when I performed in the Cape, that joke, they loved it. Absolutely crazy joke. And it depends. It's amazing how you can kind of make it fit certain occasions. And go ahead.
I know one thing. The rainbow today, you go to the rainbow today, there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That's for damn sure.
No,
there isn't. It's all been looted. Okay, we got to take a break here. We're at our break here, and we've got Steve Denuncio with us, and we'll be back in just a moment. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Red State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds, and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook, and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments, safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-380-2906. That's 800-380-2906. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-380-2906.
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American.
Okay, hey, we are back, and you are not by accident listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we've got with us Stephen Denuncio, comedian out there in the great state of Rhode Island. I was thinking during the commercial, Stephen, from the size of the state, I was just wondering if perhaps your airport's double as your freeways.
Yeah. There's been a lot of planes that landed on our freeways, but there's so many potholes. There's so many potholes that are not filled. We pray for snowstorms because that's the only thing that's filling them, because it's putting the money into sanctuary cities, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. But another thing I was thinking about when I was on the break, one of the things I do on my Facebook wall, and I also do on my skits, I like to do photoshopping as well, as I'm an artist, but I do photoshopping. One of the things about Elizabeth Warren, I put out something that on Facebook that went absolutely viral. And I put it, and I'm all over Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr, Instagram, and all, you name it, I'm there. So I did the Land O'Lakes butter? Well, I put Elizabeth Warren on there. I put her face on it, and I called it Lando Fakes, Fakes. And in the upper left-hand corner, I put Harvard churned, and 3.125% pure. And then underneath that, it says Elizabeth Warren, also known as Princess Moonbat Feathers, also known as Spreading Bull. And this is what I love to do, John, as I just love to just get that and turn it into parody. It's a lot of fun. I just like doing the Photoshop because it's art and people will be attracted to pictures rather than just words.
Well, Photoshop is kind of an extension of much of the narratives that are out there today. It's like, manufactured, altered, that type of thing. We were wondering, were you able to catch at all the press conference today that took place with Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? Did you watch that at all, or have you caught anything about it?
No, I usually do all my catch-ups when I get home. I'm in the dental profession during the day, so unfortunately I missed it. And I usually do like I said, most of my catch-ups during the nighttime. I'll listen to Rush Limbaugh's podcast. I'll try to do all my catch-ups later on.
Okay, well, I got to say one thing. I was looking at your Facebook page the other day. You're the one that did you draw the Leonard Nimoy picture?
Yes, I did.
Very good. I'm obsessed with the Big Bang Theory, and Leonard Nimoy is that's one thing I have in common with Sheldon Cooper. It's just
if you like Leonard Nimoy, here's a true story. As a pianist, I was playing in Boston, Massachusetts, and it's always fun to be. You get to meet a lot of people, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And playing at an event, and there he was. Leonard was part of the crowd, and to think that someone come up and ask for a request, I'll never forget it. And he says, Steve, I said, yes. And I looked up, I says, oh, Leonard. He said, yes. He said, can you play a song? I said, what song would you like? He said, Fly Me to the Moon. And I said, I think you've been a little bit further beyond the moon, if you want, if you know what I mean. And he cracked up laughing. And I just thought it was the funniest request coming from a guy like himself, Fly Me to the Moon. It's like, you think, well, gee, you've been all over the galaxy. You've seen the Klingons. You've seen everybody. You know, it's like it was one of the weirdest requests, and I just turned it into a funny that night.
I want to ask you. You've got on the left side of the aisle a lot of comedians that are really at this point, and it's kind of ironic in some ways, but it's also, I think, very condemning, or it's an indictment on the left, that we have a lot of comics on the left that are actually considered more credible than the news sources that are out there. Jon Stewart, Trevor Noah, Bill Maher, people like this. So that they're giving much more notoriety and credibility than Chris Matthews or Rachel Madcow or some of the other people that are out there. And I'm kind of wondering how you look at the use of humor, because that seems like the left, they use humor a lot to get their sheep to follow them. And I'm kind of wondering, have you ever given any thought to that?
Well, yes. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a good conversation, because I think I can tell you, there is a few of us conservative comedians, and Dennis Miller being one of them. I would say not he's conservative, but he's on the side of the fence. It's very hard to navigate, because you're up against the liberal comedians, and they're given, they've made it big, and now they've got their audience, and they've got their small. I call it a small audience, but yet a big audience, if you look at it as a comparison to what I have. And when they find somebody like me, the liberal comedians will not hire me. They'll blackball us conservatives. We have to navigate all on our own. But when we're given the airtime, we come back at them. And what it is, they have their following, their religion, so to speak. I refer to the Democrats to have their own religion. And when they get a comic such as Jon Stewart or Saturday Night Live, which I can't tolerate to watch, and I won't watch, but they get their audience. It may seem big as comparison to me, yes, but it's got that look. If you got that same talk show host, right? Turn him into a talk show host like yourself, right? His station would fail, because in the liberal world, they only can get it being funny, but they can't get it being serious. I don't know if you follow that. I mean, if you try to get Stewart and put him every day in like a Rush Limbaugh spot or anybody like that, it's going to fail, because the country is going to listen to a serious comic radio talk show host. But the liberal side will find the comedian so they can go there and laugh. They have their audience for that. But when it gets but that's where they live and they die, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But we as a conservative comics, believe me, everybody's, I don't want to hire you because you're going to shoot politics on the stage. Oh, but it's okay for the liberal comics to go up there that you're not worried about, and they can do all the politics they want on stage, but you're afraid I might do politics on stage, so therefore myself as a Republican is going to get blackballed. And this is like that. And I'll add one other thing. The conservative comics that I know, one, have careers besides their comedy. Two, don't have a dark side of them. Three, you can have a conversation. They're happy. And the comic world doesn't, in other words, they're not living for comedy. They're doing other things, and they're very intelligent. The liberal side, those comedians, you take the mic away from them, and they have a bad lifestyle.
Yeah,
I see it.
I've always found that conservative comedy. One of my close friends out here in California, Evan Sayet, very close friend. I've been to several of his events, and we've had him on the show here. And the difference when I go to something like what he does what you do. He does a stand-up routine. He's got circuit. He travels out here, and every now and then he'll do a national tour. But the thing is, with conservatives, what's funny is the truth. You know, you talk about the truth, and you can find the humor in the truth. You can say, yeah, it's funny, but it's still true. It seems like with liberal comedians, everything has to be a distortion or perversion of the truth to make it funny, and it's all for the purpose of feeding that entire progressive ideology or ideological thought that the world sucks, and the only way you're going to get through the day is to laugh at it. That's how I see it. Do you see the comparison there?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You've nailed it, John. They twist it and they turn it, and they make jokes about look what they did to Sarah Palin. Whether you like her or not, right? I mean, look, this is a governor of a state. How many of you people out there were a governor of a state? She was a mayor of a city. Yeah, they made fun of her, they maligned her, and the comedians they joked about her child who had Down syndrome, and the audience would laugh. Now let me do that.
Yeah,
to a Democrat child.
Yeah, well,
I will be run out of this country.
I look at like Donald Trump, the situation with Donald Trump. I have people sitting there talking about, oh, this guy's been in bankruptcy 11 times. I said, I'd love to be a billionaire with the bankruptcy. I mean, it's like, what? Who cares how many times he's been bankrupt? The guy's a billionaire, for crying out loud. He's built major corporations and stuff. So why do you have to, why do you have to take the downside of it? Why can't you build up the positive side of it? Steve, we are out of time here, and I wanted to give you a few moments to plug yourself. I know you've got a Facebook page for our listeners. You go to Steve Denuccio, DENUCCIO comic, Steve Denuccio comic on Facebook, and then you've got your own.
Well, that's my comedy fan page, or you can go to my other fan page, my other page, which is Stephen STEPHEN Denuccio DENUCCIO. You'll see me sitting at a radio station with earphones on. I'm in guest studio. I'm on Twitter at Steve Jazz, at Steve Jazz. That's one word, like jazz music. I'm on Instagram at Steve Jazz as well. My website is stevecomic.com. If you follow me, you can get some rants. You can have a lot of fun. My shows are listed. And, for me, I'm passionate. And if you email me, I've probably got the best email address in the entire world, John. It's Disney@AOL.com.
All right, my friend. I thank you so much for taking the time to come on here, and we'll have to have you back sometime.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Thanks so much. God bless. Okay, we got to go to a break, guys, and then we'll have the closing segments of the show here. We thank you. Thanks, Steve, for coming up here. I guess the best way to find this guy, go to his website, stevecomic.com. That's the easiest, and you can click on all the other things from there. I've looked at the site. That's the easiest way to do it. All right. We're going to go to a break here. We'll come back, and we have some closing remarks on today's activities. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. The ConservativeSyndicate.net, the adult in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics.
When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring. And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. All right. Well, we're coming up on the end of the show here, right here at the Conservative Syndicate, and we're really glad you took the time to join us today. I hope you got something out of that interview that we just had with Stephen D'Annunzio. Comedian back east. Of course, now I think about it, how funny can you be in Rhode Island? I mean, how funny do you have to be in Rhode Island?
I don't know. They got red chicken for a state mascot or whatever it is, state bird. So, hey.
Yeah. There were several things I was thinking about that. Of course, you got California out here, the quail. Our state bird is the quail. I'm like, I don't know who came up with that idea.
Well, I tell you what, as long as you got Jerry Brown as the governor, you guys can't say anything about anything.
Well, I just thought, with Jerry Brown and the likes of him, we should probably have turkey should be our state bird.
I don't know, Jerry Brown. I just see him right now up in Oroville putting his finger in the side of that dam.
Oh yeah,
trying to plug it.
Oh, it's really funny talking about the dam. The latest out here, the local reports, the way it's happening out here in the local reports. Not so much what's being played in the media, but it's really funny. They're talking about, well, the levels have gone down, okay? Well, the reason the levels have gone down because it's not raining right now.
Yeah. But
the way they're portraying it is that the workers and the engineers have been able to reduce the levels, okay? I'm saying, yeah, that's kind of like...
okay, so they're letting all this water out of it because they know it's going to rain. John, I mean, it would have been great because they could have used all that water for, I don't know, maybe when it starts to get dry in the summer, because I've been there. It's dry in the summer there. I mean, you could start a grass fire by hitting a rock with your lawnmower, for crying out loud.
Well, the conspiracy side of me, there's these things don't escape my conspiratorial streak in me. And I almost got to thinking, I wonder if somebody intentionally created this problem because with all this water, obviously the drought that's been playing up out here is not as droughty as everybody thinks it is. And by doing this, by losing all this water, it kind of revives the idea that maybe next in 2018, oh no, not even that. Yeah, it'd have to be 2018. We got local elections coming up here. I was just wondering if they would put something like that. We're going to have another bond on the ballot out here, trying to raise money because we've got to fix this dam or something like that. But the idea that if we have that much water out there, that it endangered an entire city or a segment of population out there, over 200,000, it kind of makes me wonder how long the drought has actually been over. or if there was a drought to begin with. Okay. Now I know people out here, they show you the pictures of the lakes out here, Lake Castaic and some of the other lakes, more popularly known lakes out here. And, yeah, sure, the water line has receded. Okay, fine. But that's kind of like telling me because there's icebergs melting that global warming is a real deal. I can't buy into anything that anybody says anymore. It's just that natural skepticism now that just swells up inside of me whenever something like this happens and the officials try to play this off. But yeah, it's kind of like telling me that engineers have brought the water levels down when we know it's just because it hasn't been raining. It's supposed to rain this weekend, 4 days, they're predicting. So we'll see what happens over the weekend. But it's kind of like the way that they handle brush fires out here. The land gets burned to a crisp, and they tell us, well, we finally got the thing under control. Because it runs out of fuel. It's that kind of reasoning out here. It's amazing. California has definitely become the land of the stupid.
That, and they knew about a problem with that dam 10, 12 years ago, and they said, why fix it? We're in a drought.
Oh yeah. It wasn't that big of a deal. Oh, here's the thing. It caught my eye the other day. They were talking about state officials are talking about the rigorous tests that they do in this dam every year. And right after they do that, right after they state that, these people are all offering defense. Yeah, we have these rigorous tests that we're required by state and federal law to do every year on this dam to make sure that it holds up. And it follows, here's the statement that follows after that. The dam, or the overspill, has never been used in the 48 years that it's been in existence. So I'm sitting there going, okay, you haven't used this thing in 48 years, and you're telling me that you're out there rigorously testing it every year? I don't think so. That's
No. They're I mean, like I said, I watched the video, and they had the guy, the spokesman, going, well, this big spillway, this big hole in the spillway, it's just like a dent in your car. And, you can have a dent in your car and your car still runs. The problem with that is I told a guy at work about it, and he said, yeah, you got a dent in your car. But what's going on there is you got a dent in your car, but it's being dented over and over and over again in the same place. Not going to work.
Well, it's more like the dent in your car, but it happens to be on the wheel well. Okay, and the tire is wearing out as you're driving down the road, but you don't see it, so you're not aware of it till the tire blows.
Yeah, it just proves the point that you must have a high speed rail from San Fran to L.A.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, Jerry. Let's do that. So, what are you going to put on there? Your migrant refugees from Mexico?
It's amazing. It is amazing. So anyway, let's see. What are we coming up on here? We're coming up on the end of the show here, right? Where are we at here? Yeah, we got a couple of minutes left. You got any closing comments that you want to make today?
Well, I just, it was nice to see the Prime Minister of Israel come by and say hi to the White House and actually be welcomed there instead of being antagonized there as he has been any other time in the last 8 years. But it's kind of funny to watch the Democrats all run around freaked out about the Russians again, and then the press. The press is just really, Donald Trump didn't ask me a question. I work for this big global conglomerate news corporation, and we're supposed to set the agenda for the world. And how are we going to do that if he doesn't ask us a question or let us ask him a question? What's wrong with the world?
Yeah. Oh, anyway. Okay. Well, we're coming up on the. Well, I don't know. We got a couple of minutes here. I'm trying to kill some time. I don't really want to get into a real discussion here.
You got about 30 seconds, John.
Oh, do I really? Oh, okay. About 30 seconds. All right. Well, I guess in that time, let's just remind everybody that you can catch our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and we have all the shows there. that we do. You'll be able to get this one and any of the other ones that we do. And we're Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 out here on the left coast, 6 to 8 on the east coast. We're glad you took the time to join us today, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow with more. So have a good evening. God bless you. We love you.
Yeah, thanks for everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hayko, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.